All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Apologies again for the delay. Without any further ado, I've got Sigma Lions head coach Mziwakhe Nkosi and captain Asenathi Nthlabakanye. So, whoever like to kick us off can go. I'm recording the meeting, so can kick us off.
Hi, Coach. It's Morgan. I just have a question about Vincent's selection. What is the reasoning behind that? Why has he dropped down from the URC team into the Currie Cup squad?
Hi, Morgan. Vince hasn't been dropped per se. He's obviously been out for a month. As a coaching group, we felt, or at least the URC coaching group felt, that he was a bit short of game time and inaccurate. So it's obviously an opportunity for him to get a bit of game time underneath his belt before they go into next week. And we obviously, our team is all the better for it. It's obviously an outstanding loose forward, one of the best in the country. So that's killing two birds with one stone. He gets game time. We get some quality in our lineup. So like I mentioned earlier, or in earlier press conferences, we're happy to serve the URC team, and part of our job is to make sure that the flagship team, which is the URC team, get all the help that they can get.
With that said, wasn't there then a consideration to maybe play Jordan this weekend, if that was the thinking behind Vincent?
The feeling is that Jordan, I think, went all right last week. He's trained really well. I'm not particularly sure that they felt that he needed to get game time, but I think Vince, by his own admission, would admit that he was inaccurate last week if he'd watched the game. And then a 60-minute or 80-minute would do him the world of good, more than it will a guy like Jordan Hendrickson.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Morgan. Any other questions?
Hi, Coach. Walter here. Just also from our side, just wanted to find out about the status of other players like Henku, Van Wyk, and Izon Esterhuizen and James Tedder. If you can just give me the status of those three players.
Yeah, Henku Van Wyk obviously he's injured. He underwent quite a serious operation on his shoulder as well as his knee. And his rehab is coming along nicely. He started running. My assumption is that he'll join the group mid-March. He's an Esterhuizen in the hit-up before the Currie Cup, ran into Carlos Sadi. He dislocated his shoulder. I think he gets cleared tomorrow, which is Friday. Yeah. He gets cleared tomorrow. We just felt it's a day too soon for him, or a week too soon for him to expose him to the rigors of a physical position like 7. And then James Tedder's done his meniscus, or small change his meniscus, but that's a short-term injury. My understanding is that he'll assume training sometime next week.
Thanks, Walter.
Okay, so just a follow-up question. Obviously, you've got a few guys that you can use from the URC squad. So obviously that means some of the other guys don't get a chance. But you also said that you're willing to work with the URC team, but does that give you confidence that that it will go better in this game than the previous two with the URC guys that you can use?
Look, Walter, I think it's a complex question. We're happy to get JP Smith and Vince Chituka, who by and large are probably, and Deon Stegmann, by and large are probably the URC guys who've taken part in the last 4 rounds consistently. In terms of it going differently from the other games, synergies. It's one of the things that we've tried to establish. So getting a URC player or an experienced player, so to speak, is not necessarily the answer. Synergy is the answer, if you ask me. So it doesn't help we get a hooker a day before and he hasn't trained with the team. We're not going to win a line-out. Having said that, we've had the opportunity to train with them over the last week or so. So we hope that they'll fit in nicely in terms of synergy and the way we play, which is not too dissimilar to the URC team. It's just a case of feeling the guy next to you. Yeah, so we're quite confident that Saturday will go well, and hopefully they can add to the cause.
One player that did make his return after the first match and didn't play in the second one was Denisio, that did very well at lock. So obviously you're glad to have him back. Yeah, Walter. I mean the litany of injuries that in the second row he had the Lions is obviously well documented. He did his ankle against Western Province, and we quite evidently missed him against the Pumas. So he's managed to recover from his injury. Hopefully he can go the distance tomorrow. But we're hell of a happy to have him here. He's a tower there in the lineout, and hopefully he can pick up from where he left off against Western Province. I think he took something like 10 out of the 12 takes. So, but he's an amazing story. He's a guy who by and large, if you take what South Africa is about, ought not to be in the team or ought not to be playing professional rugby, but through academies, through our developmental programs run by Timmy Goodwin, he's come through our junior ranks in 1921. He's now managed to play in the Currie Cup. So he's a hell of a story for rugby as a whole. Forget the Lions. So we're excited to have him here. Okay, and then my last question to the captain. You've had 4 weeks now to focus on the things that didn't work so well in the last 2 matches. Are you happy that you spent these 4 weeks well and that you well prepared for the match on Saturday?
Yeah, Walter, look, I'm really happy with the team is at the moment. I think, like I said, after the game against the Pumas, we really needed to knuckle down in the areas that we pointed out. I think it's been a good 4 weeks for us, off the field and on the field as well. We needed some time to recover and rest and really look forward to this coming game this Saturday.
Thanks.
Thanks for those questions, Walter. Can we take any other questions, please?
Coach, obviously not a good performance against the Pumas. What have you changed in your game plan and attitude to have a hope to win against the Sharks? It's unbeaten this weekend.
Yeah, Carl, I don't think it's changing anything more than doing things better. The context of the Pumas game, and it's an excuse, but it is what it is, was that to make 5 changes, probably wasn't our wisest idea to make 5 changes to the spine of the team. I think we changed 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. I said 7 changes to the spine of the team. We needed to serve the Eurieces. There are a couple of guys, Mane Ras, Mone Brandon, Sangweni, top of my head, who needed game time from the Eurieces. It probably wasn't an opportune time to do that, particularly considering that I thought we gave as much as good as we got against Western Province. So context is everything in that result. But yeah, I don't think it was a case of throwing the baby out with the water. It was just a matter of sorting out a bit of our lineouts, making sure we have synergy on defense. Yeah, but like you said, this is an opportunity Saturday to give a really good account of ourselves, and we don't have a choice. So we're well aware that we need to give a good account of ourselves on Saturday.
Paul, any other questions?
Sorry, if I may have one more. The decision to play Euriece Clark on scrum half, where he played last year most of the time on fly half. Your thinking behind that?
Carl, for those who don't know, Euriece Clark is actually an accomplished scrum half. He's won a Grand Como. He's played at the Craven as a scrum half. In fact, he played in my team. I picked him in the SS Schools team as a scrum half. He came to the Union as a scrum half. But because of an injury last year at fly half, he obviously debutized there. The fact that he's done really well there was a feather in his cap. But going forward, and I think his future, we signed him as a scrum half, and he's a bona fide scrum half. We obviously in under 20s last year, really happy that he did a job there. But for him going forward and his game individually and his preferred position is scrum of half, for those who don't know.
Happy call? Marizon?
Yeah, 100%.
Hi. Hi,
Yes,
guys.
well, thank you.
Good. I just want to go back to Chituka, to Vincent Chituka. I'm just wondering if he's playing Currie Cup this weekend just because he's been out for a while. He had that injury that kept him out for a couple of weeks. Whether that was part of the thinking to help him regain a bit of form or whatever. With you guys, and playing next to his brother, obviously, who I guess he would have kind of natural synergy with to help him. And how excited are you to see the two of them next to each other? And when was the last time that they played next to each other, if you remember?
Yeah, Marizon, like I mentioned earlier, Vince is obviously quite a marquee player for this franchise, and rightly so. He's done well over the last couple of years. Yeah, we felt like he needed a bit of game time just for him to sharpen up, in particular with the trip to Leinster coming up for the Eurieces team. So yeah, it's an opportunity for him to sharpen up, and obviously we are all, as a team, we're all the more better off for it. In terms of him playing next to his brother, I think they've only played together maybe twice. This might be the second time, matched by the fact that both of them play the same position. So Emmanuel's a 7, so is Vincent. So, and with Vince's form over the last 18 months or so, Emmanuel's had to bide his time behind his brother. But we were excited about the loose trio, as a whole. I think it's a very balanced loose trio. Sbu Sangweni, who's has got a whole lot, who's cut his teeth last year in the Currie Cup. Emmanuel's shown some good signs of progress. Vince has obviously had some good form. So we think it's a well-balanced loose trio, and we look forward to it this weekend, and maybe perhaps it's a sign of things to come in the future for this franchise.
Thanks, Marizon.
Can I also just just for interest sake, about Emmanuel, is his future, does he still, and you guys still see his future in the loose trio? Because he's been playing lock a lot too, but does he prefer to be at the back of the scrum?
Yeah, Marizon, obviously when he came to the Union, Emmanuel's another, I think both of them are guys who are still developing in their rugby. They come from a not so traditional rugby school that is Northcliffe High, who've actually done well. And having coached Emmanuel at a Cravenwood level as well as at a 21 level, we felt for him to develop the physical aspect side of his game, playing lock would be beneficial to him. His preference, that is to play on the side of the scrum or the back of the scrum. We think he's athletic enough to do that. If you looked at how he performed in the 21s a year or two ago, he was exceptional. He's an athletic lock. But I think going forward in his career, in terms of a 4 lock or a 5 lock calling the line out, I think height might be an issue for him. So moving him to the back of the scrum, only makes sense. But it's not to say that he can't do a job at lock, which he has done. Which has done a fantastic job at lock. He's deputized there where there's been a need. But yeah, his preference is at the side of the scrum, and we as a franchise look to develop him either on the side of the scrum or as well as 8th man. So wherever he goes well, then perhaps it's an opportunity this weekend for him and his brother, to play in a loose trio as well alongside Sbu. Let's see if that loose trio can work. Like I alluded to Carl, we're quite excited about that.
Coach, just on Vincent and his brother, the question regarding the nationality and citizenship, and that, is there any progress to make them available to the South African team?
Look, I can't speak for them in that regard. I think you'd have to speak to their agent. Lest I say something I'm not supposed to say, but as far as I know, there is a process underway for the both of them. I know both of them have ambitions to play for the national side, and hopefully that process happens for them sooner rather than later. Go.
Thanks, Carl. Can we take one more question, guys, before we wrap it up? Or is everybody happy?
Maybe just one more from our side. The
sure.
guys that are playing for you from the URC side, does that mean they won't be able to tour to Leinster for the game next weekend?
Not necessarily, Walter. I think there will be, without speaking on Cash's behalf in our informal discussions that we've had, I think there will be guys who've played now a bit short of game time. As an example, Vince, if he comes through now, I'm pretty sure that he'll be in the touring group to Leinster. So yeah, I think there will be, just because they're playing this weekend, JP Smith and Vince, essentially. I think it's JP Smith, Vince, and Devandra. So I think for some of them, there's a hell of a good chance that they will go on tour. For some of them, it's guaranteed. And I think for some of them, they might have to, show a thing or two for them to make that plane to Ireland.
Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. We're going to leave it here for now. Thanks so much for your time. And again, apologies for that delay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.